Are you serious about becoming a better angler? Increasing your catch rate? Then be sure to check out the Teachin' Fishin' subscription service. The Teachin' Fishin' subscription service gives you access to exclusive web programming, seminars, live events, articles, workshops, and more every month. Early registration times and discounts on classes, events, and fishing education weekends gives you first chance to guarantee your spot. Check out the Teachin' Fishin' subscription service benefits and sign-up information by going to teachinfishin.com and following the links.
So welcome to Teachin' Fishin' Coffee Hour for August 31st of 2020. Again, we're evening. Comcast was out in the neighborhood this week. We've had a lot of outages at our house, a lot of outages here at the office. The Xfinity trucks have been in and out of the neighborhood for the last week. They had to shut down from about 4 o'clock this morning till about 9:30 this morning. They had to shut down, really couldn't use the internet, so sounds like they got everything working. Who knows? Hopefully they do. So we'll see. So we couldn't come on this morning just because of that. So we're here. We're here tonight. So let's just kind of do a real quick check-in. We talked to Rusty Craig Plowman. Hi, Craig. Larry Karen, Matt Peterson, Mike Sorensen. Hi, Mike. How are you? Kenny Sparks. Hi, Ken. Good to see you. Jimmy Mick is with us. Boy, how nice is that? Jim had double bypass surgery and a valve replacement. Boy, oh boy, it's so good to see him. Jimmy, we love you. We're praying for you. I hope you got my phone message the other day. We've been thinking about you every single day. You're in our morning prayers every morning here at our house, and we love you, buddy, and we're so glad you're doing well, and thankful that God put you in a place where you could get fixed. So how awesome is that? Paul Phillips, one of my good buddies from Metro Detroit Walleye Stalkers. Hi, Paul. Good to see you. Johnny Mascarello. Hi, John from Nebraska. Johnny, I'll shoot you out a bill tomorrow. You'll get one via email. So good to see him. Kevin David. Hi, Kev. I hope you've had a chance to get out and do some fishing. Rock Campbell. Hi, Rock. Good to see you, my friend. Dan Demagalski. Hi, Danny. Keith Madej. Roy Miller. Roy Miller says I should be in touch this week, Lance, getting my ducks in a row. Roy Miller just had a new baby, so congrats to you, my friend. That's pretty awesome. So you don't worry about anything. You just let me know when you need what you need, and we'll take care of it. Mike Martin, one of my charter captain buddies up from Limit Beach. Hi, Mikey. How are you? Hope you're catching some perch. Marvin Marner is with us. Ed Carey. We got some guys watching from Cleveland that are doing some shore fishing. That is awesome. Lawrence says, how's the perch fishing in the bay? I'm going to get to that in a second. I personally don't know, but I do have some reports. My schedule is still kind of jammed up. I had some things scheduled off, and so we're trying to get this fall kind of organized here. So Tom says, I don't know why I can't say that, Tom. Tom says, yeah, Tom S is here. Scotty Waldo, hi Scott, I got you on the calendar for October 3rd. That'll be fun. Jeff Spears, he had valve replacement 11 years ago. So good to see everybody. You know, if you're new here, obviously we're kind of saying hi to everybody. If you're new to Coffee Hour and you don't really know what this is about, Coffee Hour started during the COVID, whatever you want to call it. Let's just call it COVID hell. That started in March. I decided for my own sanity, because I wasn't going to be able to go to boat shows and do seminars and see. Really, the lifeblood of what I do is talking to anglers through my seminars and through boat shows and through everything that I do. Hi, Jakey. How are you? Jake Hines is with us. So I just got up one day and turned on the computer, and through the, as crappy as Facebook is, just through the wonder of Facebook, I was able to connect with a bunch of people who've been part of our Teachin' Fishin' and Walleye 101 group for years. We brought in a whole new group. We figured it was about 300 to 400 people that we reached for the first time during COVID. We got up every morning at 7 o'clock. We had a little conversation. We did that. I checked my book the other day, 78 days in a row we were together in the mornings. And, it was good for me. It was good for a lot of guys that watched. It got to be a little stressful towards the end, having to do it every day and people depending on it. As I depended on it, it got to be a drain. And now we are, because life is kind of semi back to normal for most of us. We are back to, one day a week, usually Monday mornings. Unfortunately, again, we had internet issues with our internet provider this morning. They got those all fixed. So we're with you on Monday night. But it's just a very, very informal chat. I've got a few things I want to cover. We open up to Q&A. It's just a fun time to just kind of get with, 40, 50, 60, 70. I went back through my records and looked. We had one day during COVID, we had 281 people on for more than 10 minutes. So I kind of, if a number comes up and it doesn't stay for more than 10 minutes, I don't count it. But at one time we had 281 people on for at least 10 minutes, and that was pretty amazing. But it's just a good chance to just it's exactly what it is. It's fishing buddies pretending we are talking over coffee. That's kind of what we're doing. Ryan Baumback. Hi, Ryan from Right Tech Marine. Good to see you guys. So that's what we're doing. Let me take a drink of water, and I want to recap my weekend for you guys. A little dry. I've been out working on the polar crab, getting it ready for a couple weeks from here. We've got a writers conference we got to do, so a little parched. So anyway, I went up this weekend to Manistee. Our good friend Captain Lance Keene on the Steelhead Hunter. He runs Steelhead Hunter charters. Good friend of mine I've known for a long time. So traditionally, myself, Captain Dean Cushman, and Jeff Malinowski, we traditionally go up on Sunday night and fish Monday and Tuesday with Lance. We've added every once in a while we've added a fourth person. I know that John Littlefields went with us, but the core group is myself, Dean, and Jeff. So unfortunately our plans got changed because of COVID, and Lance was trying to make up charters. So we couldn't get our traditional time. We couldn't get our traditional Monday, Tuesday trips. So Lance said, hey, I've got a tournament the last weekend of August, Saturday and Sunday. Why don't you guys come up fish that with us? And then why don't you come up Thursday and Friday and we'll fish and do some other stuff. So originally the plan was we were going to run a charter or two on Lance's small boat. Dean and I were going to run that charter. He was going to fish on the big boat with his regular first mate, Uncle Steve. And things just kind of, got messed up. So we got there Thursday, checked in with Lance. When did we do that? I'm trying to think what we did. We got there, Dean and I got there Wednesday night. We got up Wednesday night, kind of hung out in the morning, checked in with Lance. He was supposed to have an afternoon charter. He had a morning trip, and he was supposed to have an afternoon charter. And Dean and I were going to first mate for Lance on his afternoon charter. Well, the folks who came up for the afternoon charter brought a couple dogs up north. They put their boat in a slip. Anyway, long story short, the hotel wouldn't let them keep the dogs at the hotel. So they packed up and left. So it was just Lance and Dean and I. Thursday night, it was a beautiful night, beautiful evening. Just a little bit of waves on the water. It was a perfect night. We went out and caught 11 kings. I take back 10 kings and a coho. So, Dean and I handled every fish. We caught a couple fish that were 24, 25 pounds. It was just, I hope you saw the pictures over at Lance Valentine Sport Fishing. I think I shared one or two here at Teaching Fishing. Just a good night. Just the three of us just hanging out, having a good old time. Just three buddies fishing, and man, how special is that? Had a good time. The next morning, Friday morning, Lance had a charter, and he had a father, his son, and the son's girlfriend. They were mid-20s. So we went on a trip, and Dean and I first mated for Lance. We had a great day. We had a fish on before we had all our rods in the water. We ended up with 16 fish, only because we had number 15 on. And while we had number 15 on, we're clearing rods, number 16 bit. Tried to get it off away from the boat. It wouldn't come off, ended up in the boat. And, you know, salmon you can't really release, so we had an extra one for the crew. But we ended up with 16 fish, 2 cohos, and 12 kings. We had a 32.5-pound king, a 28-pound king, and a 27-pound king, a couple 24, 25-pound kings, and a 14-pound coho. Just a fantastic day. Dean and I ran the rods, Lance ran the boat. We took turns, and I ran the boat for a little while. It was just a fun trip. Got them back, took a nap. The plan was to go out Friday afternoon, do a little more pre-fishing for the tournament Saturday. Well, as you may know, if you were over in Manistee or had heard, the wind blew 100 starting Friday. And by the time we got done with our nap and had lunch and it was blowing, 35 from the northwest, which is just huge waves over there. It blew all night. They canceled the tournament Saturday. We didn't do much. Dean and I took a ride up to Frankfurt and Onekama. Stopped at a few bait shops. Just kind of hung out, did a few things. Took some notes and did some things for teaching fishing. Went down to the boat, changed line on all the downrigger rods for the tournament. Checked all the leaders on the lead core, checked all the leaders on the copper, sharpened a few hooks, just all that maintenance stuff you do before tournament day. And then, unfortunately, with all the good fishing we had some great fish. We had a thermocline set up about 60 feet down in about 120 to about 90 feet of water. We started catching fish on Thursday night in 110, 105. For some reason, I just kept, when I got in the captain's chair on Saturday, I just kept inching the autopilot closer and closer, shallower and shallower to see kind of where that thermocline and the bait stopped. And we got into 95, and we had a 5-banger in 95 feet of water. So 95 to 105 feet of water, between 50 and 70 down was it. The thermocline was, the hard top was at about 62. Bait all over, fish all over. I shared some of the fish pictures. It was just an awesome deal. Well, northwest wind up there for, basically it started blowing at 4 o'clock on Friday, and it blew 30, 35, 40 miles an hour. Blew all day Saturday. Finally blew itself out about 4 o'clock Sunday morning. Completely flipped the water. Moved our fish. We found no bait, found no fish. Went back to our original spot, kind of adjusted from there. Thought maybe those fish got blown to the river mouth. Spent some time in the river mouth. Caught one small coho, about 4 or 5 pound coho. Went out deep, went looking, went south, went looking. I give a lot of credit to Lance. He spent a lot of time and money on gas in that 36-foot tiara, just looking. We put a new Lowrance Live 16 on there. He's got a fantastic through-haul transducer that we've all tuned in for him. We had, he can read in that big tiara about 18, 19 miles an hour. He can see bait and fish. So we covered, I'm going to tell you, we put 45, 50 miles, maybe more, on that big tiara, just looking for something. Finally just settled in by the river mouth and just played bumper boats, ended up with that one coho. Lost another coho halfway to the boat. It was a small one, but that was it for us on Sunday when we packed up and came home. But really, really fun. It's really neat to see somebody who's good at what he does, and Lance is really good at what he does on the Steelhead Hunter. It's really cool to work with somebody. He got a new sonar unit, had a new sonic hub, so Dean and I spent most of the day Thursday before we went out Thursday night getting his sonar all tuned up, getting all the settings right, showing him some stuff, setting his overlay data on his new unit, getting the sonic hub working, getting his weather. He's got the Sirius weather module. We got that working. It was just fun just to hang out with Lance. Updated his machine, updated the machine on a small boat, the sonar GPS. It was just a fun day, just kind of hanging out, right? Fishing was fantastic Thursday. Again, the Friday charter was awesome. Had a good family, had a lot of fun. And unfortunately, the tournament, as a lot of you know that just fish on the weekends, Friday night's weather, Mother Nature sometimes doesn't cooperate. So if we would not have already paid our entry fee for Sunday, we wouldn't have fished Sunday because we just kind of had a feeling that it was going to be crap. And honestly, we came home Sunday night. I don't even know what won the tournament because we didn't even go to the weigh-in. We had that one coho They cleaned it up, and they were going to keep it and put it on the grill. And Dean and I came home. So I don't even know what won the tournament. So I know we didn't. Let's put it that way. I know we didn't. So anyway, it was fun. Just a great weekend. So I hope you guys had a chance to get out and do some fishing. You know, the salmon, man, what a difference between them and the walleye. And, you know, and it was nice to go out Thursday. And, you know, we set rods, and Dean and I set rods and did the whole thing. But it was nice to be, you know, the angler again, to be able to fish and pick up a rod and, you know, run to a rigger and do some things I don't get a chance to do when I'm guiding. It was fun. I'll tell you what, though, I do like salmon fishing. I really enjoy fishing. I got the biggest fish we got Thursday night was about a 26 pounder. I had a chance to get him. I got a couple mid-20s. 3 or 4 of those, man, I'm wiped. I'm just wiped. They're just a lot of pull. So, but we talked about a lot of things. Don't know what's going to happen, but the germination of a plan. Lance said he's got a lot of customers that he just doesn't have time for. He's got 2 boats and he's full. So Dean and I kind of had a germination of a plan that we may take the pontoon over next year, because fishing on Saginaw Bay is pretty well, walleye fishing is pretty well done that 3rd week of July. We're thinking we may take the pontoon over to Manistee next year. Dean and I go over and just split the captaining first mate duties, just work as a team. Run a couple trips, stay over there for 3-4 weeks, run a couple trips every day, and honestly make some money. So you may see Dean and I over doing some salmon trips next fall over in Manistee, and then maybe taking a couple weeks off, then going back in September when the cohos pile up in Platte Bay and going up there and doing some casting. So that's some options for next year. So we were talking pretty serious about that. So anyway, you guys who like to chase some silverfish, I understand why you did. So there you go. Ed Bonowski says, did I decide on Ohio yet? I will know for sure on Ohio Wednesday. Waiting to hear back from the caterer. We'll know for sure. Perch fishing in the bay, Saginaw Bay, is pretty darn good. I'm starting to see and hear some 10, 11, 12-inch perch being caught. Seems like the bigger perch are coming from a little bit deeper water, 22, 24, 27 feet. You know, Linwood East and Linwood North seems to be the best. Out by the fingers there, which is basically, if you look at a map, there's some little curves that look like somebody put a hand on the map and they extend they extend west from the river channel, starting at buoy 1 and 2 and going down to about buoy 7 and 8. They're called the fingers. You see them on a map. That seems to be a good little place that guys are catching fish. There are some fish in shallow south of, geez Louise, look at me, south of Pinn County Bar, but those don't seem to be the bigger fish. The bigger fish seem to be out in deeper water. So perch fishing is pretty good. I am not going to be able to get perch fishing until the middle of this month. So you guys who are looking for charters or makeup, I know I got Dave Somm, I got to get his group up. It looks like after, I don't have my calendar here. Let me pop on this one. It looks like I really won't be able to get my perch fishing season started until like after the 20th. I got some things I have on my calendar that didn't cancel that have to do. I have some appointments and meetings and things that I had scheduled because September is usually a downtime for me. So I took all those and kind of packed them into basically after Labor Day through that next week. So I will be starting on the bay probably the 22nd of September, and I'll be up there all October. So we'll have September and October perch fishing and or walleye trips available, and we'll get that calendar on here pretty quick once I get it all figured out. But that's kind of the timing of it. I wanted to do some stuff early September, it's just not going to work. Too much stuff that I scheduled thinking I would be off, and I still got to get that done. So there you go. Jeremiah says, you have fun catching kings. I did. I enjoy it. It's different. And again, it's fun to watch somebody else do something that they're really good at, right? And again, I think Lance is one of the best captains out there most days, and It's fun to just kind of watch and pick his brain and see how he runs his spread and how he thinks. And we had a lot of time on Thursday night. It was just Dean, Captain Lance, and I, and had a lot of chance to ask him questions. And why are you doing this? And why do you think this? And what's going on? And what's going on with the current? And watching how he uses his fish hawk and kind of how he sets everything up. It's just anytime you fish with a good fisherman, you should learn something. And I still learn something. So it's fun. It's fun to watch. And again, you can learn from a salmon guy. You can take things from there to your walleye fishing, or you can learn from a walleye guy and take some of those things to your salmon fishing. So it's not just what you're doing. It's fishing is fishing. So really had a good time. Corey says, can we get some ideas on specific salmon lures that we can fish on standard walleye trolling gear? Well, pretty simple. Most of us run a lead core, and if you run a lead core for walleye, we've told you for years to buy a 27-pound lead core. Remember, 18-pound and 27-pound lead core. The lead weighs the same. The difference is in the break strength of the Dacron. 36-pound lead core weighs more. The lead weighs more, and that's what most salmon guys use. But it's overkill, and it's a little bit thicker, and it's harder to get a lot of it on a walleye-sized trolling reel. So, if you're a walleye guy, you should have some 4-color, some 5-color lead cores. You can take those salmon fishing, maybe add a 7-color lead core. You can take those salmon fishing. Plugs and spoons are probably the best bet, Corey. This time of year, we ran a lot of J plugs, a lot of Ace Highs, a lot of Silver Hordes. Ran a few Dodger and Fly combos, but that was mostly for cohos. Most of our kings came on plugs this time of year, which is pretty traditional. Around the harbor mouth, we were running big spoons, big Warrior, the Flutter XL Warrior spoon, and the big salmon spoons that Warrior makes. Bigger spoons this time of year. That paddle and fly or Dodger and fly, whatever you want to run, with a big dipsy, that takes special stuff. If you're a walleye guy and you fish some deep water, you may have some 30, 40-pound braid that you run big dipsies on. Perfect for salmon fishing. You can make some modifications. It's perfect for salmon fishing. You can run big Dodgers, big paddles, flies or squids behind it, meat rig behind it, a plug or a spoon behind it. So if you've got some deep water walleye stuff that you use for running big dipsies, again, usually braided line for most walleye guys. I'm going to add, not just for salmon fishing, but if things go right, I want to be able to get a chance to maybe do some steelhead fishing out of Cleveland next year. I know Dean does steelhead charters in Erie, Ontario in the summertime. We've talked about taking the pontoon over there for 2 weeks, and him and I staying and doing walleye and steelhead charters out of Canada. That may not work. We may have to do it out of Cleveland, but taking the pontoon and being there for 2 weeks and booking trips, 2 a day. So I'm going to add some wire, a couple wire diver rods. We're definitely going to do that to our, for our spread. That'll just be easy. And then I'm going to put a couple riggers on the boat. It's just simple. But regular walleye stuff, Corey, 30-pound braid you can run big dipsies on to get down 60, 70 feet, 80 feet. You can run big divers, 40 jets. You can get those down 60 feet. Number 4 tadpoles at salmon speed with 30-pound braid. You can get down 40, 45, 48 feet. So you can get that stuff down to where fall salmon are. But, spoons on regular walleye tackle, spoons and plugs work great. You really can't run the paddles and flies and stuff on regular walleye tackle. It takes a little bit of a heavier rod and a little bit stronger line. But really all it takes is 30-pound braid, a nice big diver rod, which are fairly inexpensive, and some big dipsies and you're fishing. So you can make some pretty simple adjustments and take your walleye fishing stuff and go salmon fishing. Nate Dufresne from Motor Guide says, jealous of your trip headed up this week. Hope you do well. I know Dean's going back up, I think, Wednesday to spend some time up at Bear Lake, just north of Manistee, and do some coho fishing. We'll see how that goes. So So there we go. Arlo wants to, yeah, Arlo, unfortunately, this year is kind of, so we will get up there. Riggers on the pontoon, you'll see those pretty quick. We are, the Association of Great Lakes Outdoor Riders was supposed to have our big yearly convention in Gaylord. It got canceled, obviously. I think we got like 12 or 13 riders that are still going to come. Dean and I are going to take them fishing. I'm going to take the Polar Craft, and we're going to go up to Grand Traverse Bay. We're going to be based out of Gaylord, where the convention is. We're going to drive over to Grand Traverse Bay every day. I'm going to do, for 2 days, I'm going to do some lake trout jigging and some whitefish fishing, jig fishing for whitefish. And then Dean's going to take the pontoon, and we'll have a couple Trax Tech downriggers on it and all of our stuff. And Dean's going to do trolling for lake trout and maybe a king once in a while over there in Grand Traverse Bay. So we are going to go ahead and do that. So that'll be fun. So looking forward to that. Nick says, break out the checkbook. Well, Nick, I have about a $2,500 a year budget for stuff on the boat. I figure I set aside $2,500 a year kind of as a budget item for stuff. Stuff's going to break. You're going to need to replace something new. Not fishing the river this year, and bay charters are pretty simple. I still have all that money. I didn't break anything this year, so Lance is going to help me with some of the relationships he has, and we're going to get 4-wire diver rods, maybe a few copper setups, a couple riggers on the boat. We'll be able to get a little deal on those, and we'll be set up. So we're going to spend that little $2,500 I budget every year. We're going to set aside for salmon fishing stuff. So we'll have it all. And I've got downrigger rods here already with reels on them. I've got 4 dipsy rods with braid on them already. So it's just a couple wire divers, 4-wire diver rods, and we're really set to go. And then it's lures, then it's tackle. Luckily, Lance is set up pretty good with a lot of the major manufacturers, and we have some relationships with some of those people, so we should be able to get a whole bunch of stuff for a little bit of money. So we'll cash in on some of those relationships we have, people we've helped over the years, so it'll be nice to kind of catch up. So it'll be fun, and maybe that's something we'll do as we start to do that next year. As we start to add our stuff, maybe we'll kind of do a running deal with it here on Teaching Fishing. Here's what we're doing, here's what we're adding. That might be kind of cool, especially for your walleye guys. Here's what we're adding to our spread to be able to go steelhead and salmon fishing. Here's what you can use with your walleye tackle. Here's some extra stuff you may want to buy. So that might be a nice little project to kind of show you guys what we're doing. So yeah, it was fun. Arlo says, why do I like to chase kings? I'm reminded every time the drag screams. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so it's fun. It's fun. Jason said, interested in seeing some salmon footage. I've got 2 new GoPro style cameras. One is a GoPro and one is an off-brand. So we've got 2 pieces of track up on the tracks on the arch, on the pontoon. So we will have a couple GoPro style action cams, I guess what they call them. We'll have those up when we get the pontoon ready to do, and we'll have probably one of those cameras on the Angler Quest and one on the Polar Craft when we're doing our lake trout jig and stuff. So yeah, you'll be able, if everything goes right, we should be able to get you guys some good footage. So looking forward to that. Yeah, it's Scott says I love the idea. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. And it's funny, guys were asking us, you're gonna take the pontoon on the big lake? I mean, yeah, we're gonna take the pontoon on the big lake. I mean, why wouldn't we? Well, even that rough water, I'm like, all it's gonna happen, your feet are gonna get wet. I mean, you take a couple over the front, but it's just gonna wash the deck, so it's really not that big of a deal. So we're looking forward to it. So anyway, that was our weekend. We stopped Friday night. Was Debbie Peterson, Brad and Debbie are run angler management, one of our gang there at Limit Beach Marina. Then they go over to Manistee for the salmon fishing season. They were there. They're there at the big Insta-Launch campground in Manistee. They keep their boat obviously in the water. They do charters every day, and it was Debbie's birthday on Friday, so we had some time. Friday afternoon, we were done working on the boat. We stopped by and Wanted to say hi to Debbie, wish her a happy birthday, hung out with them a little bit, and voila, they had 5 racks of ribs on the grill for Debbie's birthday, and we got to stay and have birthday dinner with our good friends, Brad and Debbie. So I've got Dean and I from our Thursday night trip brought home, I think, 17 gallon baggies of fillets. Dean took most of them home. I don't eat fish. I think a lot of you guys know that. I'm not a big fish eater. I kept a bag for my mother-in-law, a couple bags for my brother, a bag for my mom and dad, and a bag for my mom and dad's friends. And then Dean took the rest home. He's going to bring some back smoked and whatever he does with it. So I got a few here. I'm not a big fish eater at all, but I have friends that like it, family that likes it, so we'll take care of all of them. So anyway, that was our weekend up at Manistee. I know some of you were up there. I saw we got some posts from guys in our group who were up there. So I'm just gonna kind of mention this. Let me grab a drink real quick. I'm going to mention something real fast. So as I posted, sorry guys, as I posted fishing reports and fishing updates and pictures on Teaching Fishing, I had a few people send me texts and said, hey, we're up here in Manistee too, what are you doing? And I had to kind of be polite and say, I'm not on my boat. It wasn't my information to give away. And maybe that's something we can talk about today. It would have been a little better this morning. Maybe something we can talk about tonight. How do you handle trip information? So my rule is pretty simple. If it's my information, right? My boat, I figured it out. It's a spot that I fish. I didn't get info from anybody. It's kind of a spot that I fished or had been fishing or kind of worked through it and kind of figured it out. I share that information fairly freely through the phone, through text. Whoever needs it, doesn't matter. I'm more than happy to share it with you. If I'm on a spot that someone else put me on, that happens occasionally at Linwood. We have a good group of 6, 7, 8 charter guys. Mark Panazak and Brad and Debbie from Angler Management, Dick Donovan from Adventure Charters, a couple other guys up there, Jeff Godey from Michigan X. So if I'm really struggling and I got to call Godey and Godey says, hey, and I can't duplicate what he's doing where I'm at, and I got to go run where he's fishing or run where Mark Panazak's fishing, or Dougie Ward run up where Dougie's fishing, and Dougie tells me to come up there, that's information. I will share depth of water and kind of what I'm doing. I will not share location because it's not, at that time, it's not my location. Now, if we go off that and don't fish that for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days because the bite changes, then we go back, then it's a free-for-all, right? Then it is something that I made the decision to go back, and it kind of becomes more of a public knowledge thing. But I was on Lance's boat on a body of water I know nothing about, fishing for fish I know nothing about. Lance has put hours and hours and hours, thousands of hours from the time he was 10, 11 years old when he started on the lake, learning that body of water, learning how fish move, learning how to put your lures. That was something that I can't share that because I want Lance to give me good information when I need it. And I posted a couple of sonar pictures, so you could definitely see how deep of water we were in. So I did kind of give that hint away a little bit. But as far as what part of the lake or where we were, I can't. It's not mine to share. It's not my information to share. The same way if a friend of yours takes you to a spot and I say, hey, how you catch them? I don't expect you to give me your friend's spot. And I'll be honest with you, it's one of the things that's frustrating about the Detroit River or Saginaw. Saginaw Bay is not such a big deal, but Detroit can be a big deal because I may take somebody, we may have a tough day, and I still have 6, 7, 8 spots in the river that are kind of my back pocket spots, and very, very few guys fish them. And few people know about them, and very, very few people fish them. And I very rarely fish when someone else is there. If someone else is there, I kind of just pass it by. But there are times like, man, it's just really tough. I know I could go get half a dozen fish. And it always worries me because if I take somebody to one of those spots and they've got their own boat, and then they take 2 buddies on their boat the next day, and those 2 buddies have boats and they take 2 buddies, next thing you know, there's 35 people on a spot that, that you kind of shared with 4 or 5 other guides. The spots we traditionally fish are community spots. Everybody knows where the power lines are. Everybody knows where the steel mill is. Everybody knows blah, blah, blah. But there are some little spots tucked away that I've had to tell people, look, I'm going to take you here, but only if you promise me you will not show up here and you won't tell anybody where the spot is. And I've had some people that I wasn't quite sure they were honest with their answer, and I didn't take them there. So you really got to be careful with that, right? When you're trying to get information, I know we had talked about getting a couple of the tournament guys on talking about tournament stuff, and even in regular life, sometimes it's tough to share that information. But again, I'm on Lance's boat, on his body of water with his stuff. That is not my information to share at all. Now, the wind blew, scattered the fish. That bite is over. I got no problems telling anybody where we are, what we were doing. Because you know as well as I do, those salmon, they may not come back to that spot. The conditions may not be right to set up like that for the next 5 years. So I have no problem now telling you where we were Thursday and Friday. And maybe if you were out there, now if I tell you, you can kind of make a mental note of what happened. But that's just not, it's not my information to tell. And I think that's fair. I'm very open for you new guys. You might not have seen it yet, but for you guys who've been around for a while, I am extremely open with what I do. If it's mine, if I figured it out, if I'm working it, if it's, we share it every day in our fishing post, where we are, how deep water we are, what we're catching them on, and I'm okay with that. But when it's somebody else's stuff, that is a line I don't like to cross, because that is, that's somebody trusting. And there are people, I know for a fact I don't get a lot of information on the river. And people would think I do. I actually don't get a lot of help on the river because I have a few captains that I have relationships with, and guys know that they tell me it's probably going to get to 1 or 2 of those guys because it's kind of how it works. I can't come in with 30 fish and have the 2 guys next to me in the marina that I work with hand in hand and then come in with 2. That's embarrassing for them. So usually if someone gives me something on the river, if I know there's 2 people that I'm tied really tight to on the river, I'm not even going to tell you who those 2 people are. There's 2 people I'm really, really tight with on the river that I share everything with. So if you call me up and say, hey, Lance, I got a good bite up here, there's nobody up here at the Hoochie Hoochie channel, my first question is going to be, is there room for 2 boats? Because if I know my one of those 2 guys, if I know they're struggling, they're coming with me, and that's just the way it works. It is, it's tough. And when someone says, "Hey, nope, there's only room for 1," or I'm only telling you, then I'll go, "Hey, thanks for the info, but I'm not, I probably won't be up there." It's just. We work really hard at our marina there at Lee Marina in Detroit. It's not such a big a deal at Limit Beach. I haven't really got that same attitude yet with all our charter guys. It's a little more look at me, pound my chest at Limit Beach than it is at Libra. But I got a handful of guys, probably half dozen guys at Libra that we try to make sure that if one guy's got 20, everybody else has got 20. Because the last thing you want to do is pull in with your charter next to a charter boat, and they're unloading 20 and you've got 3. I've been on both ends of that. When I'm on the good end of it, it sucks. When I've got more than my buddy, significantly more than my buddy, it really sucks. When he's got a lot more than me, it really, really sucks. So we try really hard not to do that. Or if I've got a good catch and I know guide number 2 is struggling, I'll call him and say, hey, I've got 20. He'll go, man, I've only got, I'm sitting on 4 or 5. Okay, what are you going in at noon? You know, no, I'm going to stay out later. Okay, I'll be in at noon. I'll get my fish out of there. I'll get them cleaned right away. We'll be gone before you get in. So I get in, clean my fish, and get everything, get my guys to lunch with our 20 fish before he comes in with his 5, just so his anglers don't talk to my anglers and found out we caught 20 and they only caught 5. Because some days it just doesn't happen. And I work really, really hard with our group. And let me back up. Our group works really, really hard to make sure that none of us are embarrassed by having a tough day. Because tough days happen. And we work really hard to make sure all of us have as good a day as we can have. Don't quite have that yet at Linwood. I have that with 3 or 4 boats. It's definitely not a group thing like it is for the most part at Libra yet. We're working on that. So anyway, there we go. Arlo says he feels 100% the same way. Mikey Martin, takes one wrong person to ruin a good thing for everybody. And, you know, Mike's part of that group up there at Linwood Beach that I work with. Kim says exactly the same. Roy Miller says he feels the same way. Unless it's tourney week, then my lips are sealed unless I'm working with you for that tournament. Absolutely. I respect that 100%. Scott says, where do you find our daily fishing post? It's on my Facebook page, Lance Valentine Sport Fishing, is where I post my fishing reports. I try not to post any fishing reports on Teaching Fishing unless there is a direct teaching message to them. My normal just everyday fishing reports, I'm just out fishing, here's what we're doing. Those are all on the Lance Valentine Sport Fishing Facebook page, or you can go to lancevalentine.com website, and we have our Facebook feed on our homepage at lancevalentine.com. So that's where we find that. Corey says, I think it's valuable to make people figure some things out for themselves. If someone tells you everything, folks never learn how to figure things out for themselves. Yeah, and I agree with that in a normal fishing situation. I don't agree with that in a guide situation. That's a little different deal. You know, and I tell everybody all the time, you know, guys will come to me and go, hey, I'm thinking about guiding. You know, can you share some advice? And I share 5 or 6 words of advice with all of them. There's 4 or 5 things I tell everybody. The same exact thing. And one of those, let's call it, there's a dozen things, or half dozen things. Let's say there's 6 things I tell a potential person who wants to be a guide. So 6 things I tell a new guide. And I may do a little article on that. And one of those is make sure you got a network, because there's no way. The Detroit River is 32 miles long by a mile wide. There's no way. You can't figure it out every day. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. There's not enough time. You have to have a network. You have to have a network of people you trust. And when you're up at the Renaissance Center and somebody calls you and says, we're smoking them in Amherstburg, you need to know that that person is reliable enough that you can run that 30 miles, and when you get there, the fish are going to be biting. Because you'll get guys will say, oh yeah, it's really good. And well, they caught 10 fish, haven't caught a fish in an hour. You run down there 30 miles, you just wasted 40 minutes of your client's time. And he's like, oh, you know, bite's been off for about an hour. Well, you got to tell me that. So you better have a network of guys that you can absolutely 100% trust with your life, because that's what it's kind of. Look at Dean. Dean is one of my best friends in the whole world. Dean came down to Libra Marina. He started guiding a couple of years ago, and I flat out told him, I said, look it, I says, I will help you with what I have, but you're not getting anything I get from somebody else. You are not part of the group yet. Sucks to be you. You have not earned your way into that second layer of info sharing. You're not there. You know, I've got my 5 guys or 6 of us that share information, and Dean was on that second level. As close of friends as Dean and I are, as much as I want him to succeed, and a lot of times he was doing charters that I booked and, you know, he had to do because I was double booking. He didn't get that treatment from the first day. Absolutely did not get that treatment the first day. He actually didn't get it. He just started getting it. I think last year was his 4th or 5th year, and he just started getting it. And he got it by sharing with the other guys. So he knew who my 5 buddies were. He would start calling them or call me and say, hey, make sure you tell so-and-so and so-and-so. So I would call guide number 2 and say, hey, just got a report from Dean, letting them know that Dean called me. Dean just said he's got a good bite up here. I'm going up here. Or hey, I'm up here. Got a good bite going. Dean called me in on this. So now they knew that Dean was sending information our way, and Dean now is kind of sucked into that inner sanctum. That's important. I don't care how good of friends you are with a guy. The minute you're on the river and you are guiding, you're not going to get the same help, and you shouldn't. You need to earn that trust. It's a tough deal, and you have to do that same thing with your fishing buddies. When I was just fishing for fun, there were people that I will tell everything to, and there's people that I will, maybe say, hey, try 20 feet of water or try 30 feet of water. They don't get the whole deal because they haven't earned it yet. And the way you earn it, my goal, I'll make it simple. My goal every day on Detroit River or Saginaw Bay is to be the guy that puts the rest of the fleet on fish. That's my goal every day. I want to be the first guy out, the first guy on a good bite, and I want to be the guy who calls everybody. Everybody comes to my spot and everybody catches fish. That's my goal every day. I want to be the guy that puts the fleet on fish. Because if you do that a couple times, now you're in. Now you're going to get information coming both ways. And then you can fish a 32-mile stretch of river. You can fish from the mouth of the Saginaw River to Callahan Reef to Saguenay Bar back to Linwood Beach. You can fish that big giant area because you have 42 friends out there that are going to help you. If you don't have that, good luck. Good luck. So, there's just way too much water out there. So anyway, if you're thinking about being a guide, that's one of the 6 things I would tell you. There are 5 other things, but one of the things I would definitely tell you right from the start is make sure you have at least the start of a network, and a good network that you can work your way into as you go. So that's part of it. Okay. Danny says a guide he knows had a customer starting to save GPS points on his phone at Lake St. Clair smallmouth fishing. He told him he wants to keep his phone. He better stop. I'm okay with waypoints on a GPS if you ask me ahead of time. If you halfway through the trip, I see you back on your phone sneaking, yeah, now we're gonna have a problem. Be honest with me. Tell me before the trip. That's one of the things I wrote an article called, how to have a good fishing charter, which I think should be published here pretty quick. And one of the things we talk about is tell your guide what you want. Hey, I'm new. I don't know the Detroit River very well. I want you to show me some spots and talk to me about how fish move in the river. I got no problem doing that. If I know up front, we'll do it. Boom. Hey, we just made 2 passes here and caught 8 fish. Are you good? Can I go show you another spot, or do you want to stay here and catch a bunch of fish? Nope, take me to another spot. I'm okay with that if I know up front. Don't at the clock after we catch, we take 2 passes and catch 15 fish. Don't pull your phone out and save a waypoint without asking me, hey, Captain, do you mind if I, save a waypoint? 99 times out of 100, I'm going to tell you no, or I'm going to tell you I don't mind. So sure, go ahead. The issue I have, the same way I'm sure this guy did, was you don't tell me. Then we got a problem. There are some places I will tell you, no, I really don't want you to, have this spot. There are places on the river I make guys turn their phones off and actually put them inside my glove box. And then we get, 10 miles away from where we were, and I tell them they can take their phones out. I absolutely do that. Doesn't happen very often, but there are some spots I just want people to know. And again, you can figure out the general area where I'm at because we're fishing there, but I guarantee you without a GPS, you're not going to know exactly what I'm doing. And now with the Navionics app, right, you can look and see exactly what depth I'm fishing, how the contour lays out. There's places I don't want you to know that, just because I still have to have places kind of in my back pocket still, right? I still got to make a living sometimes. But yeah, I don't like the old, sneaky GPS deal. Back up, I have guys who come on Detroit River specifically. It happens occasionally on Saginaw Bay. Happens a lot on Detroit River that they'll come and I'll clear a machine of waypoints and just have that day's waypoints on that machine as I save them. And I'll say, hey, give me your SD card, and I'll give them the spots where we caught fish that day. I'll give them the waypoints. I'll sit down at lunch with a map and say, hey, here's where we fished. This spot's good. This spot's good. We didn't fish here, but here's another good spot. I got no problem doing that as long as I know ahead of time. don't, try to sneak it in the middle of the trip. That's kind of snaky. Then I ask guys, maybe you have a trip with me on Friday or Saturday. Maybe you have a trip with me on Friday and we catch a bunch of fish. I'll flat out ask you, hey, if you see me here this weekend, I'm going to ask you to give me a little bit of room. I just think that's common courtesy. You don't go with a guide on Friday, catch a bunch of fish, and then push the guide off that spot on Saturday. You don't do that. That's a fast way to never ever get any help of any kind from a guide. And I have guys that are part of our group, believe it or not, if they call and ask what time it is, they won't get it because they've done that to me. I've taken them on a charter, showed them some spots and said, hey, this is the spot I'm going to take you to. Please don't come here with any of your friends. Don't bring anybody here. If you want to bring your dad, because your dad doesn't fish, he only fishes with you, okay. But don't bring anybody else who has a boat, because then it's going to be him and he's going to bring a friend who has a boat and he's going to bring a friend who has a boat. Or, hey, this is a really good spot. There's a bunch of fish here. I got 2 trips on Saturday, 2 trips on Sunday. If you see me in here this weekend, can you sneak out until I leave and let me have it? And they've, for lack of a better term, cock-blocked me. And I'm done with those guys. I just wash my hands and, they don't get any help at all. Like I said, if they came up and asked me what time it was, I wouldn't tell them. So it works both ways. You got to figure out how important is a long-term relationship. Is it important enough to pull into a spot for one day and catch a few extra fish that your guide showed you? So you got to play that both ways. Most guides that I know, if you ask them up front, hey, I want to learn, I need some spots, can you kind of talk to me how fish move and why they're using? Most guides I know will say yes. Some will say no, and that's okay. Don't book the guy. If you want to go out and learn, and you want to go out and have the guide tell you why he's fishing where he fishes, and have the guide let you use your GPS, and he knows that up front, if he says no, he doesn't want to do that, that's okay. Don't book him. Book a guide who does. Let him know up front. I guarantee you that that guide's not going to take you to a super secret rock pile. Not going to happen. But you're going to get some good information. But be honest with your guide, man. We love to teach. We got into this, most of us got into guiding. Number one, it's an easy way to make a good living. Number two, we enjoy the people. We enjoy teaching them how to catch fish. That's 99% of the guides. Just ask us up front. That's all I would tell you. Ask up front. When you book the trip, ask up front. Here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to do this, this, and this, and then maybe cut our trip an hour short so we can spend some time going over the map. Is that something you're willing to do? No. Then you go right down the road and you book another charter. That's how you do it. Most guys will do it. Never seen a group of Tidal Lake fishermen than when in South Dakota. Luckily, I was in a shop with 180 folks to build a good network. Yeah, and again, the smaller the spots are to fish, the tighter the information is. Right? You're not going to get much help from me on Lake Marguerite. You're not going to get more than general help from me on Lake Nipissing. You're not going to get more than a little bit of general help from me on Holloway Reservoir. I can't, because there's like 7 spots that are really good, and if I tell you, they figure there's 5,000 legal walleye in Holloway Reservoir every year. Well, if you get a good 3 weeks of fishing and you get 100 boats out there every day with 2 guys, that's, 10 fish times 100, that's 1,000. You do that for a week, there's no more walleyes left. South Dakota and some of those places are the same way. You're fishing rock piles, you're fishing wing dams, you're fishing very specific spots. The more specific the spot gets, the tighter lipped you have to be. There's spots in the Detroit River that I will give you a general area, but I guarantee you're not going to catch any fish in there. Or you're going to catch 1 to every 10 I catch, because I know the 3 little spots on that area. You're never going to get those. Never going to get them. So the smaller the spot is, right, the tighter the information gets. The less spots there are and the less fish there are, the tighter the information gets. So, it's just part of that. And look, and the first time I tell you, and again, we've got a couple guys in our groups who've broken this rule. The first time I tell you, if you're on Lake Erie and we're fishing or Saginaw Bay, and you call me and go, hey, I need some help, and I tell you where I'm fishing, the first time I can't get to my spot because you cut me off, I'm going one direction, I don't care who has the right of way, I call you in and you cut me off, we're done. There will never, ever be another fishing conversation in the rest of our lives. The minute you put the nose of your boat inside my spread, we're done. You'll never get another piece of information from me ever again. Same thing on Detroit River. I got guys who short. I got guys all the time on Detroit who short drift me. So basically, what short drifting is, let's say I'm drifting from point A to point B, and I call you and say, hey, this is a good drift, and I'm at point A and I get about maybe that's half a mile trip, and I get 500 yards into it. I get a quarter mile into my 3/4 mile drift, and you come up and you cut in behind me and start drifting downstream of me. You're done. You will never get another piece of information from me ever again. Don't get between me and my spot. There's no way you don't know which way I'm drifting on the Detroit River. Go upstream of me and work your way down behind me. Let me fish it first. If I'm trolling, I'm going some way, and you come into my spot where I'm trolling, work in behind me. Get behind me 3/4 mile. I don't want to see your boat in my spread. I don't want to see you cut me off. You do that, we're done. It's pretty simple. I'm an easy guy to get along with, and I share information like crazy, but you can lose that privilege. You can really, really, really lose that privilege just by being that guy. So there you go. Kim says, I'm going to hit the bay for some first-time perching over here this year, Rutherford. He's got 240 miles round trip. So Linwood Beach, head out of Linwood Beach. There are some fish straight out of Linwood Beach out by the sailboat buoys. In 19, 20, 21 feet of water seems to be the best. You can go north, Kim, about halfway between Linwood and Pinconning, basically Gamble's, where Gamble's Marina comes out, from Gamble's Marina to Pinconning Bar. There's some good perch fishing in 11 to 17 feet of water. And if you want some really good, consistent, bigger fish, out by buoy 1 and 2 down to buoy 7 and 8, kind of on those flats there that we call the fingers, is the best fishing. Stop in at Frank's Great Outdoors. They'll help you. They'll get you on fish. They've got live minnows and frozen minnows. And then on your way to Linwood Beach, stop at the Linwood Beach Party Store. Ask for Doug. If Dougie's there, get some fishing information. And then when you launch at Linwood Beach, stop in the store and ask if you can get some fishing information. Ask if there's any of the captains around. Most of us are more than willing to help. So, but that's the report that I know of right now. Rock says it's called respect. Yeah, it's, I don't know, whatever, it is what it is. Mike Martin says, and Mike's a new charter captain. He says, good friend of Mark Penonzak, become one of my buddies. He says he's got in the habit of asking my guys what they want to take away from their trip, whether they want to learn or just catch fish. And that's a conversation that needs to happen. That's just kind of needs, up front. Alvin Brocklin, that's why he doesn't post about his fishing on Holloway Reservoir. These little lakes, that only have, literally, the netting surveys, they figure there are between 4,000 and 5,000 adult walleye in Holloway Reservoir. That's it. And that's 100% natural reproduction, has been for the last 12 years, I think. So if there's 5,000 legal walleyes, and it takes 5 is the limit, which I think is absolutely absurd. That's 1,000 boats catching a limit. Okay? It's not a big deal. If you get 50 guys out there fishing for that 3-4 week period where it's really, really good, and 50 guys take 5 fish, right? 50 guys take 5 fish, that's 250 fish, right? It takes 4 days to get to 1,000. It only takes 16 days to basically take all the legal walleyes out of Holloway Reservoir. That's all it takes. That's why I personally feel our management in Michigan sucks. It's one of the worst in the Great Lakes states. You can't manage Holloway Reservoir, a 3,000 acre impoundment with natural recruitment, 100% natural recruitment, and a growth rate that it takes about 3.5 years for a walleye to reach actually 4.5 years for a walleye to reach legal size. You can't manage that body of water with the same limits that you manage Saginaw Bay, Lake Erie, Burt Lake, Mull Lake. Can't do it. But we do. 15 inches, 5 fish. There you go. Well, there's no more fish left. Tonight's not the night for that. That's another conversation for another day. But yeah, and so when guys fish small lakes and they don't post detailed information, that's why. Right? When Al Van Brocklin says, "Hey, you want to learn Holloway? Come on out with me for a day," and he says, "Hey, when you come out here, please don't bring anybody out here that's got their own boat. Bring your son, bring your dad, bring a buddy who isn't going to come out fishing by themselves." And when Al Van Brocklin takes you to Holloway Reservoir, like I do with some people, and turn you on to the fishing and go, "Look it, come on out. Here's some spots. Do me a favor. 4 a day, maximum of 4 a day. If there's 3 guys in the boat, don't take 15 home. Everybody take 1 nice one home. Everybody take 2 small ones home. Be done. Don't try to do a community fish fry out of Holloway Reservoir or Mott Lake or Lake Fenton or Lake Nipissing. Don't do that, because it only takes 10 families, 15 families to try to do a community fish fry, and there's no more. Literally, guys, I'm not being over dramatic. There's no more fish left. Not only is there no fish left, there's no fish to reproduce. So you have to be careful with these fisheries. Look at Lake Erie, Detroit River, Saginaw Bay, completely different than any place else in the world. The world. You can't do what we do on Saginaw Bay, Lake Erie, and Detroit River, which is knife everything we catch. That's legal. From 15 inches to 35 inches on Lake Erie, from 13 inches to 31 inches on Saginaw Bay, from 13 inches now to 32 inches on Detroit River. We knife them all. And it makes 0 difference to the population. Literally 0 difference to the population. Hasn't made a difference in 25 years. It makes 0 difference to the population. Holloway Reservoir is not like that. Lake Nipissing is not like that. Burt Lake is not like that. Mullet Lake is not like that. Lake Hubbard Lake is not like that. You got to be careful. You have to treat each fishery individually by what it is and what pressure it can take. The DNR don't care. The DNR, I'm not going to go off on that, but the DNR, they don't care. They don't have enough time. They don't have enough money. They don't have enough. I'm going to be honest with you, they don't have enough people who care. I'd be willing to sit here and show you some facts that the DNR would be happy if most of our commercial or recreational fishing went away. That's another story for another day. So don't count on them to say, yeah, 5 fish, 15 inches everywhere. Yeah, that's a terrible idea. If you want to stock up on fish, you need to do a fish fry, book a charter on Erie, book a charter on Detroit River, book a charter on Saginaw, go on a good time, get all your fish, do your fish fry, go fishing for fun, keep 1 or 2 for a meal for you and your wife, or you and your wife and your kids once a month at Holloway or those other places. Keep 3 nice fish, be done. That way you'll have fishing forever. Ever. Anyway, pay your dues. Lots of listening goes a long way. I probably listen too much and can't spend enough time on the water. Hard to do from north of Grand Rapids. Ed Belanowski, nothing wrong with letting fish go on Hubbard. Yeah, and watch our, the evolution of an angler is a great seminar. It talks about that, right? Because everybody gets to a point where we call it, there's one part of the evolution, there's one step we call limit guy. Guy has to get a limit to prove that he's a good fisherman. If he doesn't, I know a guy who's 60 years old and still has to do that. He'll stay out in wind, snow, sleet, rain, every pair of clothes he has on, 14 hours in the boat to get that last fish to get a limit. I got another limit today. Who the hell cares? Get past that. A limit doesn't prove you're a good fisherman. It proves you caught a limit. Okay. You can go out and catch 2 and still be a really, really good fisherman and have a good time and learn a new technique or try a new species or learn your sonar that day or whatever. It is what it is. So anyway, Corey says, and this is Again, the evolution of an angler talks about this, right? The better fisherman you become, the greater your responsibility to the fishery. Take pride in knowing what you're doing in selective harvest and why. I believe that's 100% true. Roy says he can't catch an inland lake walleye anyway. I know better than that. I know better than that. Yes, Dan makes a great point. That goes for bluegills and crappies on all inland lakes. Just because the limit's 25 doesn't mean you take 25. You know, I've watched guys, you know, pick one, like Nipissing being the place I grew up and learned how to fish. And, you know, I've watched guys come out there this time of year and a little bit later. And, I mean, a bucket, you know, 50, you know, 12, 13, 14, 15-inch black crappies and big bluegills. Like, what are you doing? And what are you going to do with all those? Literally, what are you going to do with what? There's no way that some of those aren't going to go to waste. There's no way you're going to eat all those fast enough to not get some of them freezer burn. So when they're that big, take 15, have your meal, call it good. Come back in 4 days and catch 10 more. It just drives me. It drives me bonkers. You know, just because you have one good day doesn't mean that you need to make up your whole year of stock and fishing your freezer on that day. Right? You know, I'll make it simple for you. Get your ass back out there more often. And through this COVID thing, hopefully you learn. One of the things we talked about in the COVID thing every day was there are things that you have on your list to do that you're never going to do because you said you'd do them when you had the time. You didn't do them during the COVID shutdown. Still don't have them done. Cross them off your list. They're not that important to you. Right? There are things during COVID that I ask you almost every day, or at least once or twice a week, write down the 5 things you miss the most right now during the COVID shutdown. If it's not one of those 5 things, don't waste your time or energy doing it. So when you're at home going, oh, you know, I just caught 175 bluegills, when you could have kept 20 nice ones, and you're sitting at home watching TV, you could be off your ass off the couch in the lake catching 15 more today. It's lazy. It's sloppy. It's why I get frustrated with anglers. There's my preaching for today. And it just, there are so many people that don't want us to do what we do. And bringing home a bucket of fish is one of those things that people that don't want us to go, well, why do you need to, what are you going to do with that, right? And look, there's no way, you cannot tell me you're going to catch 100 bluegills, you and 3 buddies, on a Saturday afternoon, and you're going to get home and take care of all of them properly. Get them all clean, get them all dressed, get them all packaged, get them all put away so they don't have freezer burn. You're not going to do it. You don't have enough time to take care of that many fish. So some of those fish are going to go to waste. Or they're going to go to a friend because they are freezer burned. He's not going to like them. He's going to throw them away. What does that do to the resource? What's the point? What's the point? My rule on fish, if it's not going to a family member, I don't eat fish. My rule is if it's not going to a family member and getting eaten in the next 7 days, I don't keep any. For me, going back. Going back. Catching fish in April and freezing it to eat in October is silly. Especially when the fishing's fantastic in September and October. It's silly. Just absolutely silly. The only place I would tell you that we can be a little different with that is 4-year-old kings. Although a lot of our stuff on the west side of Michigan, a lot of it's still natural reproduction. By the time you fight a 4-year-old king, he's not going to make it if you let him go anyway. That's one of those few things that I think you need to stop. Those fish you can keep. But again, if it's you and your wife and you go out and you catch 3 kings, well, go do something else. Go catch a lake or 2 or call it a day and go play golf. Or, you don't need to catch just because the limit is 10. You don't need to kill 10. I don't know why this fisherman thing is Every time I go, I got to catch a limit. I got to keep a limit. Got no more room in the freezer, but I got 25 more bluegills, big bluegills. Then 2 years later, man, this lake used to be good for bluegills. Well, you might want to look at yourself. As the guy who took, 1,500 bluegills out of the lake this year. Anyway, Gary says, I agree. I want to learn more about salmon fishing, so I started watching salmon videos. Salmon fishing is fun. Brian says, my wife gives me crap for not taking her out enough. Need to make the time. Only thing we would. Yeah, hi, Dougie. It's just a frustrating. I'm gonna kind of spill the beans here a little bit. Dougie Ward's here, Mike Martin's here. A few of you guys, Steve Ryan, good friend of mine, does a charter every year. I'm gonna tell you what, Saginaw Bay, the limit on walleye is 8. I have 6 guys in my pontoon. I will make you a promise, as sure as I'm sitting here, you will never ever see a fishing report from Lance that we caught 48. Never. Never, ever, ever gonna happen. Number one, I don't think that's the right regulation. From what I know, I don't think that's a good regulation. Number two, I'm not cleaning 48 walleyes. I'll flat out sit right here as your captain if you're going to book a trip and say, not going to happen. There's no way I'm going to stand at a cleaning table and clean 48 walleyes. Never, ever, ever going to happen on my boat. Ever. You'll never see me post a fishing report of 48 walleyes. I don't care how good the fishing is. And if I could do it in 3 hours, it ain't going to happen. You'll never see me post a 6-person 48 fish report. Not going to happen. I get to 20, 21, I open the live, I'll go, man, look how many fish we got. I'd be like, oh, because most people on my trip have never caught 20 walleyes in a day. Oh my God, that's fantastic. Yeah, oh yeah, okay. Hey, we catch a couple more. And I'll be flat out honest with you, I'm going to kind of spill the beans a little bit. Doug's here, Jeremy's here, Mike Martin's here. There are times that we get 22, 23, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I peel off and go 3 feet deeper and stay out of the fish for an hour, hour and a half. Come back, oh, they started biting again. No, they didn't. I didn't want to be there. I don't want to catch 48. Now, that may be something I probably shouldn't say in public, but it's the truth. There's just no way. I get to 20, get 20 keepers in the live well, I start thinking, okay, where are we really at? Well, okay, I got 6 people. They're all the same family. Everybody's here. The kids are home from school, whatever. Okay, right. Let's get 30, 32, 35. Okay, good. There's 30. There's 36 in the live well. Psh, gold. You're never going to see me with 48. Never, never, never. I just, number one, I think it's way too many fish to take out of that system. And at some point, because of the way the DNR works, that 8 fish, 13-inch limit is going to get to the point where it's being a negative, and it's going to be 2 years before they catch it, it's a negative, and then I'm in trouble because now I'm only catching 3 a trip. So I'm kind of self-policing myself to make sure I have fish to make a good living on for the next 10 years. I have to do this to make a living. And again, I'm not going to stand, especially if I have doubles. I'm not staying at the fish cleaning station for all 3 hours of the time between 2 trips. Not going to happen. Just not going to happen. It just is what it is. So, maybe that'll cost me some trips. Maybe some people will go, I'm not going with him. I'm okay with that. I got enough people who will. I'm fine. Detroit River, 6 fish, 4 guys in the boat, 24, easy peasy, right? 24 is good. And, where was I going to go with this? And in Detroit, I have somebody else that comes and cleans fish. So I can lay the boats down and I can go to lunch. I don't have to clean fish. So Jasper says, Jasper says, now I know why John Littlefield's boat kicked our butt a few years back. They didn't really kick our butt. They caught a few more than we did. And all I'm going to say about that, Jasper, is this. I know you're joking. I know you and I are friends and we chat. And I get all that. But here's what I'm going to tell you about that. It was much more important in the bigger scheme of things, it was much more important that John Littlefield beat me that day than I beat John Littlefield. I'll just leave it at that. You can do with that information what you want. So there you go. Mike Martin, another chart cam, says, I don't even reply to the how many comments anymore. It's irrelevant. Yep. What's relevant to me is the clients leave happy. That's my deal right there. If I get paid, it's a good trip. If I get a tip, it's a really good trip. If I get paid, get a tip, and they rebook, it's an awesome trip. How many fish you catch? Don't care. Awesome trip. I got paid, I got a tip, and they rebooked. I did my job. My job as a charter captain is 90% entertainer, 10% fisherman. My job is to make sure people get on the boat, have a good time with their family and friends. That's how I treat my job. Now, most days we catch fish. Most days we catch a good number of fish. Most days we're in the top, quarter of the guys in the marina. Okay, so that's part of it. We do that. But there's days that I've caught 6 fish with 6 guys, come in and got $200 tip because they were with Uncle Joe and Grandpa and their dad and the 2 kids, the grandkids, and they were having a great time. And the kids were laughing because they reeled in fish and we got ice cream. I consider myself 90% entertainer, 10% fisherman. And I know that from my clientele. I have guys who could go to the Detroit River and 99 days out of 100 catch their limit without even talking to anybody. That still book me once a year because it's their 4 buddies and they don't have to do anything. They show up, we laugh, we joke. I'm part of the group, so now it's 5 buddies fishing and we're ribbing each other and we're laughing about this guy and we're laughing about that guy and there's a story about this guy, whatever he did this year, and they could be very easily save the $500, go in their boat, catch just as many fish, but they want to come because it's a good time. That's when you know you're a good charter captain, when guys book and they don't care how many fish they catch. That's a charter captain. It's all about the experience, and there's a lot of good captains out there, and when you can do that and catch some fish, that's golden. So, Jasper, I know Jasper, and I think I would consider Jasper a friend of mine, a good friend of mine. And I see, he's joking, but there is more to that than that, right? There's a lot more to that. And honestly, the payoff just happened, Jasper, because if you remember, John was with, one of the guys helping John was one of the guys from Angler Quest, and through all that and through some other trips we've done and some other things we've done, John just signed an Angler Quest deal. So it was much more important that John Littlefield caught more fish than I did that day than it was important that I caught more fish than John Littlefield did. I'll just leave it at that. And I'll be honest with you, there are times on the Detroit River, or there are times, the fall fishing weekends are a great example. I don't want to get you too far behind the curtain, but there are times, maybe let's say Dean and I and John Littlefield go out as a group, or I go out with a couple of the staff members. And we used to go out with Duncan, and we'll listen to the radio chatter and hear everybody in our group has 3, 4, 5 fish, and we're looking live. We'll go, we got 16, and we'll dump a bunch of those fish and come in and go, oh yeah, we got 6 today, because everybody else got 4 or 5. So everybody else getting 4 or 5 and us getting 16 doesn't do anything. It just gets people frustrated. Well, and there's times we've come in and we hear, okay, so-and-so's got 7 and so-and-so's got 8 and these guys got, a couple guys got 10. There, let's dump 6 and let's make everybody. So we'll come and say, oh, and you hear the chair. Hey, Lance only got 6. Like, there you go. Good for you guys. You're all happy. There's a lot more to this than, that's why I don't tournament fish anymore. Because what I bring to the scale, or what I bring to the dock, or what is in my live at the end of the day on a charter, has 99% of the time, zero reflection on what I get paid. Whereas a tournament, that's all it was about. So maybe some of you guys are thinking about booking a charter. Maybe you're like, I don't want to go with that asshole. But That's just how we operate. All right, Danny, we'll see you, bud. I know Jasper. I know what Jasper meant by his comment and his smiley face. And the only sad part is I think Jasper had to pay somebody $5, so that's probably what got him. And Jasper's an awesome dude, and now that I think he knows the whole story, I think he's okay. Jasper with Doug this year had a good 2-boat trip with Doug, so I think it's awesome. Dougie says, I'm with you on the numbers. Ugh, some guys are thrilled with 20, and I like cleaning that many. Others are like, geez, we need 26 more fish. What happened? Why didn't we get 48? We didn't get 48 because 48 is an impossible number. I did the math. I think I told Jasper this when we had him out 2 years ago. Or was it last year? Whatever it was. Anyway, 48 fish on a 5-hour charter, which 99% of the guys run 5-hour trips, 7 to noon. So if you figure I need a half hour of travel time coming and going on a short, then that's not running very far. If I need a half an hour of time, that's 4.5 hours, right? So that is 270 minutes to catch 48 fish. That's 135 minutes to catch 24. That is 17 minutes to catch. It ends up being like one fish every 6.5 minutes. You can't do that. It's impossible. It's impossible. There's no place fishing is that good more than 1 day a year. Right? So let's do the math. 4.5 hours is what? 6, 12, 18, 240, 270 minutes, right? And we need to catch 48 fish. Correct? Is that right? That's one fish every 5.6 minutes. That's one fish has to come over the rail every 5 minutes and 37 seconds. If your expectations are that high, don't book a charter. Give me a break. Holy moly. You know what the state average fishing hours per walleye is? It's right. If you take all of the water in the state of Michigan, it's about 3 hours per legal walleye. The Great Lakes is like 1.1. Even with Saginaw Bay, Lake Erie, and Detroit River, it takes about 1.1 angler hours for every fish that are caught. And you want to catch one every 5 minutes and 36 seconds? Yeesh. Slow your roll. Brian Murray says, just took my family on a salmon charter, went 2 for 6, had a riot. His son's girlfriend caught her first coho. My daughter's fiance caught his first king. Only way I can get the whole family out at once. We'll do it again. That's what a charter should be. A charter should be to get a group together. You don't have enough room to fish in your boat. Get a group together that can come to one central place because they're all spread out and it's easier to come to one central place, or to go and learn something new, a new technique, a new location. If you make going on a charter, the only reason you go on a charter is to make sure that the family or the community can have a fish fry, you're going to be disappointed more times than not. Because I'll guarantee you, as a charter guy, if I could control the weather and the quality of the fishing, you couldn't afford me. I promise you that. If I could control those two things, you couldn't afford me. If I could promise you 48 fish in nice weather, you don't have enough money to go on a trip with me. So, it is what it is. Like I said, our job, and I know the good captains, our job first is to make sure you have a good time, because we can control that. When I started fishing, when I started charter captain, I used to get disappointed that, hell man, we only got 6, we only got 8, or we were one short of a limit. My dad's like, hey, my dad pulled me aside and said, look there's only 2 things you can control. You can control your attitude and you can control your effort. If your attitude was 100% and your effort was 100%, at the end of the day, what you got's what you got. You can't control that. He says, if you want to be disappointed in your charter, give less than 100% effort and give less than 100% of a good attitude. Then you've disappointed your clients and you've cheated them out of money. But if you give them 100% of a good attitude and 100% of your effort, that's all you can do. I thought that was pretty good advice. That's pretty good advice for all you guys who who are new charter captains or thinking about being a charter captain, control your work ethic, control your attitude, let the rest take care of itself. Dougie says he's pretty new to this charter fishing, just finished his second year, and last year was all about limits. This year the fishing was definitely tougher, and we had just as much fun with half of the fish. I learned a lot about the business this year in that regard. My crew has always have a good time. We've danced on the boat, fish songs, fish calls, and so much of the trips are teaching anyway, fun stuff. Dougie, that's what it's all about, buddy. Hey, Steve. That's what I said. You know, I consider my job as 90% entertainer, 10% fishing guy. So, Roy Miller says he owns a boat and will rebook Lance any day. Thank you, Roy. Took the church guys out and they had a blast. And again, that's another, you know, especially with the pontoon. Like, you know, Doug and I both run Angler Quest. Where can you get 6 of your buddies on one boat? One place, one boat, and you have to do nothing. You don't have to have rods, you don't have to have reels, you don't have to buy bait, you don't have to know where the fish are. You just get there and let somebody else do the work. That's a pretty good deal. Dougie says he racked up 4 6-man limits in 4 days last year with a 5-man right behind it. His answer, yeah, I have driven out of fish. I get to 20, 25, especially there's some nice ones in there. I drive out of fish just because there's no way. Steve Ryan, there sure is a lot of singing and dancing on our charters with this group. There is a lot of singing and dancing. His poor grandkids. You know, and again, it's a good trip when the customers leave happy. It's a really good trip when the captain is happy too. And when I look at every charter as a 5-hour trip with new fishing buddies. If I've never met you before, by the time we leave, I want to know how to make fun of you and what the inside joke is between you and this guy and why they call you Stubby. And I want to know all that stuff, right? And I want you to know something about me you can pick on me about. I enjoy that part of it. And then you start to get these guys, Doug, and you'll love this. You start getting guys 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 years in a row, and you just look at your calendar and go, this is going to be a riot tomorrow. I don't even know what the weather's going to be or what the fishing's going to be, but this is going to be fun. That is really fun, and that's just an enjoyable part of being a charter captain. Man, we're going long tonight, so I apologize. Mike Martin says, I'm fortunate to have a lot of good guys sharing their years of experience to help him be successful. In about 1 year, they have completely changed his mindset on this entire charter. It's good to have mentors, right? It's just good. Just good to have mentors, right? So, Greg says 4 hours with travel. Yeah, right. So, you figure a 5-hour charter, like I was fishing up north of Pinconning. That's an hour of our day. Half hour up, half hour back. So I got 4 hours to catch 48 fish. That's one fish. That's 12 fish every hour. That's one fish every 5 minutes. It's impossible. It's impossible. You can't do it fast enough. Yes, Rock. Catch tomorrow at 7:30. Christian Anglers tomorrow at 7:30. Even on Lake Erie, where the numbers are 20 times higher in Saginaw Bay, you can't do it. Yeah, Doug does 6 and 8. That's a big difference over 5 hours. Yeah, I started at 8 hours, and I started, so you guys who are listening, Mike Martin, or maybe some new guys who are thinking about, yes, Greg, 5 hours dock to dock. You guys are thinking about chartering. One of the pieces of advice I give, under promise, over deliver. So when I started, I was 7 to 2, which is a 7-hour trip on the river. And what would happen was about 11 o'clock, we'd go in for lunch, go to the speedboat, and go back out. Well, about a third of my trips didn't want to go back out. And I started watching my clients, and by 11 o'clock, most of my guys were toast. They'd driven 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half in the morning to get there. They didn't sleep the night before because they were all excited. We're out on the lake or the river, and you're bouncing up and down the boat, and you're tired. By 11 o'clock, when you leave at 7, by 11 o'clock, your guys are toast. They're flat out toast. So you got that little extra hour to kind of, especially if things are good, you catch a few fish. Now, if you do a 5-hour trip and the fishing's tough, you go, hey, tell you what, guys, if you guys can help me put the boat away when we're done, we can stay till 1. Let's fish an extra hour and see if we can get a few more fish. So now you charge them for 5. You've given them 6, maybe 6.5. You might get a little bit extra. You might not. I usually don't ask for it. But if I sell you a 7-hour trip and we come in at 6.5 hours, you feel like you've been cheated. Well, I paid for 7, I only got 6.5. Now, even though I was ready to fall, my customers are ready to fall asleep and the 2 kids are passed out on the couch and, nobody's fishing, they still paid for 7, only got 6.5. So I went to 5 in the morning. I do 5 in the afternoon on the weekends, and then I do 4 hours in the afternoon during the week. Fishing's tough, we'll stay an extra hour. If fishing's really good and we're, hey, we're at 30, let's get to 32. I may stay an extra half hour. I'm okay with that. But I promise you 5, you pay for 5, I give you your 5. Now there's no question. If you pay me for 7 and I give you 6.5, right? So just kind of think about that as you charter guys are rebooking for next year. Just think about that. Think about when your customers, especially in a pontoon, think about when your customers start to get up front. The minute they open their cooler and start eating, the trip's over. You've lost them. They're kind of off on something else, and fishing is not their priority. They're kind of done. That usually happens about 11 o'clock when you leave the dock at 7. At that point, you're pretty well done. So take them in at noon, charge them for 5, and be done with it. And don't feel you can't get the same price for 5 that you got for 6, because you can. Anyway, Eddie says, did 25 in an hour in 4 minutes on Erie. Best part was first time here for 2 guys in the boat. Then Erie kicked our butt for 2 days in a row. I like Steve's attitude. Steve Dennis catches a lot of fish. He says, most unlucky angler on a marlin trip is the guy with the rod. Better to drink beer and cheer. I'd agree with that. John Miller says, our trip was great, 3 fish, but man, did we have a good time. And again, and one of the things that I do, Johnny's a great example. We had John Miller and Ed Clendenin, and we had 5 of us, I think. All good friends of mine. And the weather was crap. The bite was terrible. And I told them the night before, and they said, hey, we just want to go out. We want to take a ride in the pontoon. We want to see how the pontoon fishes. We want to talk to you about your spread, kind of how you run all these boards, kind of stuff. And it was just a bunch of guys. We hadn't had a chance to get together this year. And I says, hey, it's going to be a crappy day. We're not going to catch any fish. We may catch a couple, but it's going to be terrible. They're like, don't care. We're still coming. And we had a good time. We went to lunch. We just had a good time. It was just a fun day. And that's part of it, right? Just is what it is. Doug Ward says, Mike Martin, absolutely, about having mentors. He didn't learn this all on his own. His dad's a fish whisperer. Jeremy Crosby's a good fisherman. We learned a lot together. A good network is golden. Absolutely it is. It's absolutely important. And I look at, if someone came up to me tomorrow and kicked me in the shins and said, hi, I'm Doug Ward, I wouldn't know if it was Doug or not. Doug and I have never, ever met in person that I can remember. But I feel like Doug is a friend, a peer, a confidant, someone I can trust with information both ways. And Doug and I have never met face to face. But you can just tell from Doug's attitude and from the conversations him and I have had, text message and email and phone. You can just tell that he's just a good guy. And that's what this fishing is about. Mike Martin, I didn't know Mike hardly at all. He was working with and for Mark Panazak, and we kind of met a couple times, and now he's got his own boat, and I'm cleaning fish at Mark's, and Mike stops by. We had lunch this summer. He was up in Pinconning and stopped and got a couple of pizza loaves, and we sat on the boat, and these guys are just most of the guys that do this especially the guys that do it close to full time, they are good guys, man. They're just good people. They care about their customers. They care about the fishery. They care about their fellow captains. They're just good people. And that's probably the most proud thing that I am with my charter boat family, my charter boat friends is they're just good people. Man, there's not a single charter boat guy I can think of that somebody says, oh, you hang with him? I'm like, yeah, that I'm ashamed to say I'm a friend of his. That's really cool. So I appreciate all you guys. All you guys. I appreciate all of you. All right, Corey says, whether it's charter or fishing with family or friends, when someone asks you how you did, your first answer should be, we had a good time, without question. Hi, Matt. Steve says, the boys are very... Steve, like I said, I'm probably going to start about September 22nd and go all the way through mid-October. So get with me. Let me know when a weekend works for you guys. You get all the kids, and we'll make it happen. By the time I can start, I can't start until like I said the 22nd, 23rd of September just because of some prior commitments. By the time I can start, we may be able to do a walleye perch combo trip. Troll for an hour or two in the morning, try to catch half dozen 6-8 walleye, go perch fishing for a couple hours, catch 20, 25, 30 perch, and really have a good day. So there you go. Doug says, I almost always stay a little longer on a trip. It's a terrible quitter. He's a terrible quitter. Yeah, I am too, but there's days you just know it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And it's just not going to happen. So Matt says, you always make sure the customer gets his money worth. He says, heck, I want to fish and be in the water too. I think Matt's got another job though too. Again, I enjoy all of it. But there you go. Neil says, can I recommend a bass charter for the Erie Central Basin? Neil, do me a favor. I'm going to reply to your post right now. Send me an email and ask me that same question, and I will ask around. It looks like Arlo's got a guy, so I would check him out. But send me an email, walleye101info@gmail.com. Send me one tonight or tomorrow, Neil. And I will definitely track you down a couple options. Right off the top of my head, I don't know. All right, here we go. Doug says, one time, yes, now that you say it, I remember that. One time early this summer at Limit, we were calibrating. Yes, I remember that now that you say that. Yes, I remember that. Matt, I will. Shoot me an email with your phone number to make sure I have it. Absolutely. Doug, you're right, and I apologize for that. We did meet. We were calibrating rods. Yes, absolutely we were. And you came by. I forgot. Now that you say, I remember the day clear as a bell. It was the day that I was putting the net holders on and we were doing some other stuff. Geez Louise, sorry about that. But we definitely need to get together and have lunch, just to kind of sit down and talk. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you too, my friend. We're all doing the same thing. We're all trying to make sure people are better. There you go. One more pass, Jeremy says to Doug. Oh boy. It's funny. Matt says he does have a regular job, wishes he could make the same money just fishing. Retirement dream to go full time. It's funny. I'll get people show up to a charter. It's 4 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and they're all happy and they're ready, and you can just see they're ready to go. I'm like, hey, are you guys just excited every morning when you get up and go to work? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, I'm going to work. Because you can see, they get there at 6:15 and I'm just kind of, going to the bathroom and getting a cup of coffee, and I'm just kind of hanging out, and I'm just kind of tired and they're all ready to go. I'm like, if you guys got to start work at 7 o'clock, are you there at 6:10 all excited? Like, heck no, we don't get there right till 7. I'm like, you get it? It's funny. that kind of starts the day out kind of as a little bit of a joke and kind of breaks ice. Anyway, I got to go, guys. It's almost 9 o'clock. We've almost been here 2 hours. It's good to catch up with all of you. Yeah, met Dean that day. Yeah, the net holders are mounted on the back already. Yeah, I think you talked to, I think Dean and Jim were helping me calibrate, and I was on the boat doing something. I think that was a day, who knows? But I do, now that you say, I do remember meeting you. I do 100% remember saying hi. So anyway, all right, that's close to 2 hours. It went by so fast. Boy, I really wish, I would never wish March, April, May, June back on us again, but I sure do miss getting a chance every day to just sit and just chat fishing with you guys. It's just, it honestly, you guys have no idea. It soothes my soul. It raises my heart. It just, yeah, it makes me whole. It's been a tough couple months. We talked about this when we were doing coffee hour. It takes, it's been a tough couple months. The last week and a half have been really good. I'm starting to feel like myself. I'm starting to feel happy. I'm starting to want to do things. I think I was in depression for a while because even the things that I love to do didn't give me enough energy to get out of bed for a while. And you guys are a big part of it. And this is a big part of it. This is my passion. I'll be honest with you. I could care if I ever had a rod in my hand ever again. I just love this. I love this conversation. Hi, Scotty. So this heals my heart. It soothes my soul. It calms the savage beast. I love talking about fishing with guys who love fishing too. So thank you for your time tonight. So, all right, I'm going to wrap it up. You guys who are part of our Christian Angler thing, we'll be over at Christian Anglers Facebook page tomorrow. I know a lot of you are back to work. I get all that. But I just posted a link to our page. We'll be at the Christian Anglers that Choose Him, the Catch page tomorrow at 7:30. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I'll be honest with you, I haven't really kept up with my Bible reading, and I'm having a tough time with that part of it too. But again, there's a group of men and women. We have 2 or 3 girls that stop by, but there's a group of people there who lift you up and pray with you and pray for you. It's just an amazing group, and I'm learning that I don't have to do everything, that I can lean on you guys. I can lean on my friends. I can lean on my family. I can lean on my fishing community when things are tough. And you guys have boosted me and lifted me, not only through this spring and summer, but tonight. But tonight has been good. I didn't want to talk for 2 hours, but man, oh man, once we got started, it was fun. So, all right, guys, I will get this to Mike. We'll have it up on the website in probably a couple days. Just real quick about the fall educational trip. I will have an answer by Wednesday. So we may go live Wednesday night, or maybe I can't go Wednesday night. I got golf league. I'm subbing in a golf league. I'm kind of back to normal. I'm taking Wednesday nights. Going to fish Wednesday morning, do charters on Wednesday morning, and golf in a league for a couple days on for the next couple of weeks on Wednesday night. So I'm kind of finding my balance again. So there you go. Anyway, so maybe Thursday night we'll get together and have a little chat once we figure out all the details on the Ohio trip. I'm pretty sure we're going to go. I'm pretty sure, as of right now, I think what's going to happen, unless I get an absolute terrible answer from the caterer, I think what we're going to do is ask for a small deposit, $25, if you want to go on the trip. we need X amount of guys to make it worth doing the trip. I'll be totally honest with you. We need X amount of guys to say it's worth doing the trip. We can make a few bucks and it's worth doing. To go down there and not make any money, honestly, it's not worth doing. This is a business venture. So we need X amount of anglers to sign up. So I think what we're going to do is do a $25 sign up with a drop dead date, so we can tell the hotel and the caterers as of that date that we're either coming or we're not, and there'll be a hard cutoff. So if we have enough people at $25 deposit to do the trip will go on as planned. If we don't, we're done. We'll cancel it. We won't do it till next year. And then the situation will be if we cannot go because Ohio says we can't, or somebody makes up this thing that COVID comes back, or whatever the case may be. If we can't go because of trouble, I will refund you your $25. If you decide not to go, I'm keeping your money. It's as simple. So it'll be a small deposit, it'll be probably $25. If we can't go, if we cancel the trip, or if somewhere in the rules and the laws of government we cannot do the trip, we will refund you. But we need to get a count, not just, yeah, I might go. We need to have a hard number. So I can't have 150 people say, yeah, I might go, and then we book the trip and 20 people show up and we lose, $5,000. That can't happen, especially this year. So we're going to need to know, you guys need to get with your partners, get everybody that's almost positive of coming, get us to $25, and if we can't do the trip or we have to cancel because of lack of numbers, you'll get your money back. Promise you that. If we do go, you're in, and we'll set up once we decide to go, we'll contact you guys with a $25 deposit and give you the way you can make payments on your balance. We won't ask for it all up front because we know everybody's probably in a little bit of a situation, so we'll set up a 3 payment plan so you can pay off the trip in 3 equal installments. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Unless I get a really, really bad answer from the caterer, that's what's going to happen, and we'll let you guys know all that. So anyway, all right, have a great night, guys. Thank you again for your time. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your support of Teaching Fishing both on and off the water. Remember, tomorrow starts the new month. We'll see something the following Thursday, I think, is our first installment of new content for September. September is fall walleye. We're going to talk about fall walleye location. We're going to talk about fall walleye tackle. We're going to talk about fall walleye techniques. We're going to talk about fall walleye movements. We're going to talk about some things to look for when you look at a lake map on where to look for fall walleye. We're going to talk about some other things about fall walleye. So you'll see some seminars, you'll see some tips in here, you'll see some tips from the boat, you'll see the subscription guys. I know we have at least 2 live events happen. The non-subscription people, there'll be 1 seminar that'll be recorded that we will post up. We have an archive seminar, an old version of fall walleye that we will post up. We have a newer version of the seminar we did about 4 years ago that we'll post up for everybody. And then the non-subscription guys will have another half-hour, 40-minute seminar new that we'll record here that we will put up for everybody to see, subscription and non-subscription. And then we'll have our end of the month Q&A for everybody. And we'll have at least 1 subscription-only seminar event on fall walleye and a Q&A on fall walleye for just the subscription guys. So lots of content, lots of stuff for fall walleye in September. So Steve, I think, don't quote me on this, but we've always been, the Ohio trip's always been right around $375 per person. And that includes lodging on Thursday, lodging on Friday, lodging on Saturday night, dinner Thursday, dinner Friday, dinner Saturday, breakfast Friday, breakfast Saturday, breakfast Sunday, seminars on Thursday, seminars on Friday, seminars on Saturday, boat launch, boat storage. We usually do a couple workshops that are free to everybody. And then access to our staff if you want to do something extra. Guys in your boat to tune your sonar, guys in your boat to get your transducer right. That's usually stuff we offer, but at a little extra price. But we do some basic stuff included in that price. So basically 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for $375. All your meals, all your lodging, everything included except your fishing. You can't beat it. And we always have at least 2 guest speakers to do some great seminars. So that is a pretty darn good deal. Dougie Ward, we are the first weekend of November every year. So this year it will be November 5th through the 8th. So we'll start on Thursday the 5th and go through Sunday the 8th. We did have plans about going an extra day this year, but with everything happening, we're just going to keep it normal and there we're going to go. So anyway, all right, good to see Jim Mick back. Jim Mick is healthy. Keep Jim in your prayers for continued healing. Al Van Brockland just celebrated 50 years of marriage with Linda. Congratulations to our good buddy Al. Just a great example of kindness and love every time he's around. So really glad he's my friend. Again, Jim Mick's doing well. So boom. If you're boatless, Rod Harder, if you're boatless, sign up for the fall trip. We'll get you in a boat with somebody who's got room. You don't have to have a boat. If you don't have a boat and have no one that has a boat to come with, come as a non-boater. We'll get you in a boat with somebody. If you have a boat and no partner, come, because we'll have people who want to come and don't have a boat to go in. Hey, look at that, it works. That's a pretty good little deal there. So if you're a boater without a partner, sign up. Let us know that. If you want to sign up and come and you don't have a boat or a partner, let us know that, and we'll make sure we get people here. We've had some beautiful friendships. Al Van Brockland and Ken Massengill come to mind. They first met and fished together at one of our events, and they are now joined at the hip when they go fishing. And they met for the first time, fished together for the first time at one of our trips. So there you go. It's a really cool deal. All right, guys, I'm going to go. I'm going to spend some time with my beautiful bride. I miss her. I don't know how much she misses me, but I know I missed her over the weekend. All right, hope you guys get out this week to maybe do a little bit of fishing. Get out this weekend. Get a chance to enjoy your family. Live your life. Love your life. Create a life that you love. Find a reason to be kind. As our good friend Duncan says, when you're struggling and you're working through something and you just don't know what to do, stop for a minute, find one thing you can do today to make it better. Find a reason to smile every day. It may be as stupid as rolling on the floor with the dogs and laughing. Find a reason every day to smile. It's something I forgot to do for a little while during this spring and summer. Something I forgot to do was find a reason to smile every day. I'm finding a reason to smile every day. And find some place and someone that you can be kind to. Just find a reason to be kind. So, all right, guys. Thank you for your time. Again, thank you for all your support, and we will see you back here one night this week. I'll make an announcement, and we'll get together for maybe half an hour, like I always say. And that'll probably turn into 5 hours, but once we get the okay and get it all figured out for the fall trip, we'll come on here and let you guys know. All right, guys, thanks for your time tonight. Have a great night, and we will see you soon.
Are you serious about becoming a better angler? Increasing your catch rate? Then be sure to check out the Teachin' Fishin' subscription service. The Teachin' Fishin' subscription service gives you access to exclusive web programming, seminars, live events, articles, workshops, and more every month. Early registration times and discounts on classes, events, and fishing education weekends gives you first chance to guarantee your spot. Check out the Teachin' Fishin' subscription service benefits and sign-up information by going to teachinfishin.com and following the links.